As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICANN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICANN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study Exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
All right, welcome once again to Icon on Air, and we are very, very happy to be with you this very evening, the 21st day of November 2024. You know, sometimes we as accountants, we talk about financial modeling, and we talk about how we need to make our books or tidy up our books, try to keep the expenses straight, try to understand what your earnings are in the organization and how well to do your modeling. So we use it just the way we want to use it. But right now we are very deliberate about everything about us, about our career. And right now we are treating something very interesting, and we want to everyone is a CFO in this topic that we're trying to discuss today. So the topic is the CFO, the role of financial modeling yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm sure that's that acronym will align with some people. But just today, we're discussing what a CFO needs to know about financial modeling. Of course, we know that a CFO is an officer of a company. So put yourself in the shoes of a CFO today. Your primary responsibility will be the decision making of the organization, whether it's record keeping, financial reporting, or anything around analysis of your organization. So today we have an interesting guest in the studio, and I would like to go on a break. After the break, we'll come in with a special guest. Thank you once again for joining Icon on Air. Remember to call a friend to join the program because it's an interesting topic for CFO, and we all are CFOs. We'll be right back.
In today's interconnected world, complexity is the new normal. An accountant must navigate this landscape, leveraging interdisciplinary approaches to drive sustainable growth. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, USA District, invites you to our 12th ICANN USA International Accountant Conference. Join us for 4 days of inspiring keynotes, interactive sessions, and expert panel sessions. Date is 26th to 31st of August 2025. Theme: Navigating Complexity, Accountants as Catalyst for Interdisciplinary Solutions. Venue is Windham Indianapolis Airport Hotel, 2544 Executive Drive, Indianapolis, in 46241. Join the conversation. Shape the future.
The Skill Up Artisans Program Super is an initiative of the federal government.
The aim of Super is to upskill Nigerian artisans for better employability. This we are carrying out by collecting the data of Nigeria artisans through massive registration, training, certification, and licensing for better job opportunities both locally and internationally. Super will improve the quality of life of Nigeria artisans. It will improve the quality of work from Nigeria artisans, enhance work and professional ethics from Nigeria artisans, reduce dependency on foreign artisans, and increase foreign exchange through talent export.
Log on to super.itf.gov.ng to register now. Super, upskilling Nigeria artisans for super job.
welcome back to Icon and Air today. My name remains Fumi Olani, and I have a special friend, a brother from two different worlds in the studio today to tell us everything around financial modeling, about the CFO that we all are today. I'm going to take the profile of Mayowa Salami. He's an associate director, financial advisory services. He's of Andersen in Nigeria. He has over 11 years of extensive and wide range experience in mergers and acquisition, corporate financing, financial modeling, project finance, due diligence, and business restructuring for capital fund raising. Mayowa started his professional service career at KPMG, where he rose to the post of manager in the deals advisory practice. At KPMG, he led the execution of high-profile mandate of clients cutting across different key sectors. Proud to joining Andersen, he served as a vice president corporate finance at Alpha African Advisory and an assistant vice president at United Capital Investment Banking, where he was responsible for structured trade finance, projects finance, and financial advisory. You're welcome, Mayowa Salami. AC.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for choosing to join us in the studio today, because we need people like you to come on board now to tell us everything that you have experienced as an advisor and also as the one that has featured in the industry. So today we're trying to let our colleagues know, that are accountant and also non-accountant, to be sure of what it means to navigate the world of finance. And I'm happy to be here with you too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you once again. So my first question, right? Mayowa, you've been everywhere, right? And I can say that the late American professional football coach, in person of Vincent Lombardi, he actually said, every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. Autograph your work with excellence. That's true. So who is a CFO, and what does the role of a typical CFO entail?
All right, thank you. So I would say that even right from your introduction, you had actually mentioned it. Everybody here is a CFO, right? So basically, a CFO is somebody who is at the helm of affairs, like a senior executive manager who runs the financial responsibility of a company. A CFO is basically just you and I, somebody that is responsible for the financial reporting, someone that is, it's a very strategic role as well. So you're looking at somebody that's very key on financial planning of the business, taking financial strategic decisions as well. So this is somebody that is very material, in the entire senior management team. And basically what he just tries to do is to, break down into Naira and Kobo, the language that we all understand, the business language, and convert it to financial statements, financial reporting to the shareholders, financial reporting to the board, and also providing insights as to the financial performance of the business as well. So basically, in a nutshell, we can say that's who a CFO is.
Interesting. Thank you. At least it was as though I saw your script or I read your mind to say everyone is a CFO. That's my belief, because even in your spaces, in your homes, you have to manage everything around your finances. In financial circles, a CFO is viewed as an operator. They call a CFO a steward, they call him a catalyst, a strategist. Everything is upon the CFO. So please break it down for better understanding and appreciation, for our audience to appreciate what it means to truly be a CFO as an operator, a steward, a catalyst, a strategist.
Wow. Those are very big language to use. But if you look at what I said from the beginning, right? Now, let's take, for example, a steward. Basically, when you say who is a steward is someone that is reporting, right? Who does the CFO report to? CFO reports to the board, also reports to the senior management team, the MD as well. And what is he reporting? It's actually reporting the financial performance of the business, how the business is operating as at today. And it's our responsibility as accountants, as members of the institution, to ensure that the financial records that we're preparing is true and fair, is accurate, and is basically in line with, all the standards that we have there. So that is what stewardship is all about. You mentioned operator, right? A CFO is someone that, it doesn't work in isolation. It's a particular team. So there's several units, that is part of the finance function. So you have the tax team, you have the financial planning team, you have the financial reporting team. So basically, he has to ensure that his department is working very effectively and efficiently as well. So that's where the operations actually comes into play. A strategist, I think this cannot be overemphasized. You cannot be a CFO without actually planning for the future of your business. And I think that is where today's topic is all about, financial modeling. You need to be able to, try to peek into the future and say, okay, where do I want to lead my business to? Working very closely with the CEO, working very closely to probably a commercial officer, you should be able to decipher the future business and bring it to Naira and Kobo. What are the financial implications? And working as a strategist, with the MD and the CEO. And the last one is a catalyst. Basically, as a catalyst, what you are trying to say is, my business, where are the issues? Where can I drive performance? Where can I drive growth? We look at it when we say revenue, price, and quantity. How can I improve my revenue? Should I increase my price? Should I do some sort of sales? We're now in Black Friday and Christmas holidays, a lot of discounts and flash sales are going on. So what can I do? What kind of promotions should I take out there to improve my business? So that's the catalyst drive of a CFO. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think those are the four major categories, if you want to put it that way, in terms of how a CFO should run a business.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayowa. I just want to acknowledge some of our audience. I want to say thank you very much for joining today. We appreciate you, and I know everyone is counting down to Christmas. But Sonny Abdul Karim, we see you live from Abuja. He said it's always a pleasure and insightful joining ICANN on air. Thank you. So Taufik Lawal from Abeokuta, Bulus Makud from Jos. We see Pete Remy Ezugo from Delta State. We also see Ganiat Bello from Ogun State. Umar Ben, thank you very much. Fagbolato Nitokwe, we kind of flog your contribution here. We appreciate you. Days GS, thank you so much for joining from Jos. Shokumbi Babatunde from Ibadan. And from Ilori, we have Babatunde Fatai. From Ogun State, we have Micah Nwachuku. Everyone is listening to you, and we all are CFOs. So yes, we need to learn from the experts in the house today. So, Maiwa, just looking through your biography, your profile, you are an associate director, financial advisory and strategy at Andersen in Nigeria. What is financial modeling? And what would you say are the types and components of financial modeling?
All right, very good question. So to be honest, financial modeling, right? We all have built a model one way or the other in our lives. Let me put it that way. As long as you've opened an Excel and you've worked on Excel and you've done equals to a cell plus another cell, you have done a financial model in its elementary phase. So what I would say is financial modeling is basically a tool, that you use to try to predict and try to interpret or represent business processes into financial processes. And what do I mean? So take, for example, a business or a company in FMCG that does production, right? How does this production lead to financial figures? How does production lead to revenue? How does production lead to OPEX? What you're trying to now do is to bring all of those processes, make mathematical representation of those processes in Excel. That is basically a financial model. So there are several types of models. The typical ones that we see everywhere is a three financial statement model, which is the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow model and the cash flow. Those are the ones that we typically use in our day-to-day activities, and I think that's a major one that as CFOs we should be very open to and also using in our day-to-day activities. But aside that, there are other type of models. You have the M&A model, you have the DCF model for those that want to do valuation. You also have the sales and leaseback model and things like that. So just to say that from time to time as CFOs, we actually do a lot of work on Excel. The next thing is, what are the things that we need to do basically in ensuring that we use these tools properly in order to help in order to create some sort of projections or forecasts that will help us in proper decision making. And that is where the financial modeling comes in. So, interestingly, the model that we use, like I mentioned earlier, it's a 3-stage model. And the model, we build it from, there's something called the inputs sheet up onto the calculation sheets and also the output sheets. Now, the input sheet is where you make all the assumptions in the model. And what do I mean by the assumptions? Assumptions are basically what are the basic drivers, of a model. What are the basic drivers of your business? And I mentioned earlier, take for example, a manufacturing business, a business that is into production of probably, I don't know, anything. You want to know what are the materials that are used in production. What is the price? If you're able to determine what the quantity is and the price, you've been able to determine what the revenue is. If you're not able to do a forecast production and as well as a forecast pricing, then you have done a forecast revenue. And using Excel you've been able to do some sort of projections, and that's where financial modeling also helps in calculating and doing projections, in estimating future revenue of that particular business. So that way you have your revenue sorted. Another one is the issue around other calculation sheets. So you need to understand how the operations of the business in terms of operating OPEX. You also need to understand the financing as well, of the business. And all of these are what you put into the assumption sheet. Then the understanding of the business goes into the calculation. Then from your calculation, you now prepare the income statements, which is basically your revenue less expenses, and you get your profits. Then you now move to the balance sheets, then you move to the cash flow statement. So those are the major things in the financial model. So if I want to continue, right, as a CFO, so how does the financial model really help us? As CFOs, it's very important that we understand our business. And in understanding the business, we also need to make decisions in how we think the business should move forward, And for us to make decisions, we need tools and resources that will help us make those decisions as well. And that's where we talk about, financial modeling. As today, one thing as CFOs that we do very well is financial reporting. Basically, giving some stewardship or reporting on the current performance of the business. But as CFOs, we need to take it to the next level, which in terms of one of our core functions, which is actually financial planning and analysis. And at what point do we need to do this financial planning and analysis? It is when we want to make some certain decisions. So take, for example, a business that is already operating in a particular sector and wants to go into another investment. So say they want to buy a particular asset. The tools that will be important to make those decisions, be tools that, will help him or help that particular company, in ensuring that in assessing the viability of that particular project. And that tool is where a financial model is very useful. So I want to invest, take for example, in a particular project. One thing that financial model will help me to do is to say, what are the future revenue that I'm going to get from that project? And what are the future expenses I'm going to, incur as a result of running that project? And with the financial model, we are able to calculate what is going to be the net profits from that project as well. Then we now move on to what is the actual cost of developing or growing or installing that particular project, which is what we call the project cost. From the financial model, having looking at the capex, which is your capital expenditure, you look at what they call your financing costs. You also look at your working capital requirements as well as other pre-operational expenses. If you sum all of this together, it comes to what's called the project cost. Now, from a project cost, using the financial model, you're able to estimate what will be the mix of equity and debt that is required, in financing that particular project. And the only way you can be able to estimate the equity and debt for that project is by using a financial model tool to estimate what is going to be the optimal capital structure for that particular project. So just to say that a financial model is quite useful for all CFOs, either yesterday, today, and even for in our future and day-to-day future activities. There are lots, of activities, a lot of areas that we can definitely use a financial model for. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Interesting conversation. So I know you have a lot that you would like to share in terms of how financial modeling is with the CFO. But my question is, if you look at advanced analytics,
Hmm.
of a company, of what the nexus is between data analytics and financial modeling.
Okay. So your question is the nexus or the similarities between data analytics and financial modeling. Nowadays
Yes.
we live in a world of AI, Internet of Things, and data analytics. And the question now is everybody nowadays is basically using AI. I think even Google, I think at some points, you when you want to Google something, it's AI that actually responds to you instead of Google itself. So it's quite interesting. I would like to say that there's a lot of similarities between data analytics and financial modeling. The whole idea is about predictive analysis. And predictive analysis in terms of based on information that you have as of today, how is it possible to be able to estimate or project what is going to happen in the future? However, data analytics is much broader than financial model. Data analytics makes use of big data. Data analytics, what big data does is like I need to understand the preference of my customers. I need to understand their taste, their demand profile. All of that information is what I now use to build a particular product that will meet their desires. So that is all about data analytics and the big data. But financial modeling in this case is you are already operating a particular business. You already have you have a product that is in the market. What you are trying to do is to assess the performance of that product in the future. So if you notice, I said that both predictive analysis, but one is just actually focused on your current business operation and how you want to expand that current business operation based on your current product, or even mean that I have a new product. How is this new product also going to perform? So with the use of financial model on Excel, which is a big difference, with the use of financial model on Excel, you can be able to estimate how your business is going to perform, in the next 5 or 10 years or 20 years based on certain assumptions that you make today.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope we're learning and I hope you're jotting, because I see a lot of our client did I just say clients, right? Audience. There are questions already for you, but I wouldn't want to delve into those questions yet because there's so much that I have in my bank for you to. I want everyone to learn, because this is the avenue where we all have to learn as accountants and even non-accountants. So if you have a friend that has not joined, I'm sorry, you need to invite that friend over right now. So as a that you are, Mr. Mayowa, how was the practice of financial modeling yesterday, and how would you say it is today, and what should we expect tomorrow?
Okay. So financial modeling, I would say, has been growing. I can remember my time when I started my career about 13 years ago, when I first built my very first model, and all the struggles, to ensuring the financial model balance. So when I mean a model balance, it means your balance sheets, your assets, your net assets, and equity, everything balances as well. And I could remember once everything balanced, I jumped and ran from one end of the pool to the other because I was very excited. And nowadays, things have evolved. Now you see a lot of tools or add-ons on Excel, which makes the ease of use of financial model and Excel even more appreciable. A lot of people now use macros. A lot of people now use VBAs. Even the data analytics I mentioned, there's an add-on on it. Even the AI, there's an add-on on it in your Excel that you can use. In ensuring that you are able to build a bankable model, a model that helps you to do the analysis that you want to do. So basically, you can remember in the days where we started using Microsoft, maybe um, Office 97 or Lotus. Definitely is not the way it is now. And again, a lot of people are now very exposed. Knowledge, people are doing a lot of certification in terms of financial modeling. So you see a lot of young professionals as well, getting a good grasp of what it is to be a modeler, So I would say that there's a lot of future when it comes to financial modeling. There are a lot of institutions out there, that are also teaching on how to build a model. And as CFOs, I think is also one of a very core skill that is required of every one of us to learn how to build a model so that we can also move away from just being a steward to being a strategist in our role as CFOs.
I like that. Stop being a steward, be a strategist. I love that. Thank you so much. As the financial modeling professional that you are, how rich, or should I say deficient? So it's either we are rich or we are deficient in Nigeria on financial modeling. I just want to know how. Like, let's wait. And when it comes to financial modeling, are we doing well? And if we're not, why are we not doing well in financial modeling in Nigeria?
Okay, I think in Nigeria it's quite broad. So let me bring it down to our profession as finance professionals, right? And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I wouldn't say that there's deficiency. I think it's just a matter of knowledge, exposure, and you being aware of a particular tool that can be used to improve your day-to-day activity, right? Because take for example, in my current place of work, which is Andersen, where I run as a director, leading the financial advisory team. I have a team of about 15 to 20 staff, and not all of them could build a model. But it's a core skill that is required for us, to deliver to our clients, and everybody can build a model. So we had to do in-house trainings. We had to bring in professionals. One of the professionals that has also been aired on ICANN on air as well. Just to speak to the breadth of this platform, and kudos to the team. So just to say that, it is I won't say there's a deficiency, but definitely there's going to be some improvements. And come to think about it, as professionals, even as individuals, how can this skill help us in our financial independence? A very good example is if you are, take for example, an ICANN student and you're in school, but you are very good in financial modeling. You have done your ICANN certification, or at least you understand accounting, debit and credit. Financial models, if you're able to build a financial model, you can earn good money on building a financial model, enough money that can even take you through your university. That is how lucrative financial modeling as a profession is, right? So I think for me, there's quite a number of work that can be done. As young professionals, like I've mentioned, there are institutions out there that actually teach on how to build a model. And as future CFOs, if I should put it that way, this is actually a skill set that is very important, in order to help us make those decisions that are required of us.
Yes, thank you. Future CFOs, but we have aligned that they are also CFOs right now. But of course, because today we're discussing how financial modeling has been for CFOs yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So, yes, I agree that future CFOs, especially those that are young accountants, those that are even still in school, I hope you're learning from everything that has come to your doorstep this evening. In your personal opinion, how much could Nigeria have been making developed through this sound and credible, recognized financial modeling institutions and professionals? Are we losing out on anything, and how much would we have gained?
So I think that question, right? We look at it as the who is actually using the skill. So I'll take it from 2 points of view. As a CFO, which is you are internal to a particular business, you know, the financial modeling skill actually helps you in improving your efficiency. It also improving how your business performance as well. So I would say that as a CFO, if you're able to, predict what is going to happen in the future, making realistic assumptions, you are able to find ways that your business can actually generate more revenue. You are able to find ways, to minimize costs for your
Mm,
business with the use of the financial modeling tool. You are able to find ways to optimally, finance any future projects that you intend to do. One key issue or error that we make, in financing is when you take short-term capital for long-term projects, and that's where we call financing mismatch. But with the use of a financial model, right, you are able to identify what your project cost is. You are also able to identify what the optimal capital structure of the business is. And that the optimal capital structure now says what is your optimal debt levels, what is your optimal equity levels. You know what kind of debt you should take, the tenor of the debt, the moratorium of the debt, the interest and any interest payments structure in terms of bullet repayments or straight line repayments. So all of that is going to what help us to, if we're able to quantify all of that, then definitely we can say that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to also earn, as a business. Once you're able to deploy, financial modeling skill in what you're doing, your day-to-day activity in that business. So that's a CFO running internally. For an external professional, right? What is this? What is it going to? What is the financial implication for an external professional? And I think I'd actually alluded to this. I'd mentioned earlier. As an accountant, you know your debit and credits, which I think is the preliminary skill set you need in building a model. A model typically has two levels. There's always going to be, for every entry, there's going to be a debit and there's going to be a credit. So your accounting education and background is very important. So that is very needed. Then you need some element of finance. And when I mean element of finance, you don't necessarily have to be a CFA chartered. You don't necessarily have to learn all the rudiments or all the financing jargons, but your basic understanding of cash flows is just what is needed, in building a model. And with that, you can walk up to a business who is intending to say expand, or wants to move into another business venture, or wants to start up a new product line. You can assist that particular company in developing a financial model, and the whole essence is to know if the product or if the project that particular company wants to do, if it's going to be a viable project. And with that, as an individual, you are already making some significant revenue or income for yourself as an individual. So if you look at it from both internal, that is you being a CFO for a particular company, you're either making money for your company or you're reducing the cost. That is one level. Or externally, as a professional consultant, you are also using this skill to earn revenue or earn income for your own personal self as well. So by and large, I think for all professionals here in Nigeria, it's also an additional advantage, to earn or to have the financial modeling skill, so that we can continue to improve on, our day-to-day activities as well. So, yeah.
The Skill Up Artisans Program Super is an initiative of the federal government.
The aim of Super is to upskill Nigerian artisans for better employability. This we are carrying out by collecting the data of Nigeria artisans through massive registration, training, certification, and licensing for better job opportunities, both locally and internationally. Super will improve the quality of life of Nigeria artisans. It will improve the quality of work from Nigeria artisans, enhance work and professional ethics from Nigeria artisans, reduce dependency on foreign artisans, and increase foreign exchange through talent export.
Log on to super.itf.gov.ng to register now. Super, upskilling Nigeria artisans for super job.
In today's interconnected world, complexity is the new normal, and accountants must navigate this landscape, leveraging interdisciplinary approaches to drive sustainable growth. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, USA District, invites you to our 12th ICANN USA International Accountant Conference. Join us for 4 days of inspiring keynotes, interactive sessions, and expert panel sessions. Date is 26th to 31st of August 2025. Theme: Navigating Complexity, Accountants as Catalyst for Interdisciplinary Solutions. Venue is Windham, Indianapolis Airport Hotel, 2544 Executive Drive, Indianapolis, IN 46241. Join the conversation. Shape the future.
In the CFO, the role of financial modeling yesterday, today, studio in person, Army, ACA. So, Mr. Mayowa, you're welcome back into the studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Sorry. Glitch. I mean, it's been up. I can understand what it is to say do virtual apologies for that. So my question, I mean, I've been and also you have substance that you want to discuss. But I would like to ask a question. I mean, permit me to ask emerging technologies, of destructive technology through technology and diversity. How threats? What are the opportunities? Find financial modeling, and even we as accountants, how can we modeling with the help of technology?
All right, thanks for me. So if I got your question correctly, you're asking, emerging technologies today, what's basically the impact for professionals today as chartered accountants, and also for financial models, and financial modeling. I think, technology today Yes, I think the right word you've used is, disruptive. But I think it's very important that all professionals need to keep abreast of what is happening, and we had actually mentioned quite a few on this show today. We look at the issues around chat GPT, we had issues around co-pilots, artificial intelligence, all of these, some people actually see it as a threat, to their to their profession. But I think what is actually very important is how are we able to harness these technologies in improving our productivity and improving our efficiency, as CFOs as we are today. We've all agreed that we're CFOs on this call or on, on this show. So as CFOs today, how are we able to, to harness these technologies and also to improve in our deliverables, either in our personal or in our career, you know? So take, for example, we have, we all are very familiar with Excels, but you know that in Excel, there are a lot of plugins or add-ins that we can also take advantage of, you know? There's some formulas in Excel that help us to automate repetitive tasks. And as competent professionals as today, as contemporary professionals, it's very important that we are also very abreast of all these disruptive technologies, so that we are able to improve on our, productivity and as well as our deliverable. So I would not see it as a threat. I would see it as an opportunity for us, even in terms of financial modeling. One thing is today we can no project or no business is the same. So that human factor is still very important in our day-to-day activities. That human factor is also very important in our decision making. All this what this technology can do for us is to provide the information, the needed information, accurate information for us to make that decision. It is not for the AI. What AI basically does is, based on my own research, is there's a already a database, and it's just filtering through those database and providing the right information for you to make the right decision. So that is all about it. So what I would say is the technology, yes, quite right, is disruptive in the sense that the way we are operating right now is not the way we used to operate. Like I said earlier, starting my career about 13 years ago, I knew the way I had to work with Excel is not the same way I'm working with Excel nowadays. So we basically need to be able to adopt these technologies in our day-to-day activities and our day-to-day function as CFOs.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICANN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICANN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Air, and if you can see the slide You see that there's something to present concerning the CFO, the role of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So, Mr. That synopsis of what this. Mr. Mayowa.
Oh, okay. I think I didn't get you. I didn't hear you at first, but I think I understand. Okay,
All
for
right,
me
thank
to
you.
go through the slides. Yes. So in front of us is just a brief presentation on financial modeling. Definitely, financial modeling is something that we all need to improve or learn the skill. And I would say that it's a skill that probably it takes about 2 or 3 days, because what you need is some level of advanced financial modeling, advanced Excel as the cases. So, but what I've just done here is just a presentation, high level presentation of what financial modeling is all about, the concepts, and as well as the usefulness and how we can use it in our day-to-day activities. So very quickly, I'll just run through what I have. So I mentioned earlier is a concept of forecasting and modeling, and to say that forecasting is what we are very in tune with. And what do we mean by forecasting? It's just basically trying to estimate what the financial outcome of a company will be based on historical data. You know, so take like for example, like I always mentioned, if you have an FMCG company, and what forecasting does is just to help management to anticipate what future revenues and analyze product performance and operations as well. So with forecasting, definitely there's going to be some assumptions that you're going to make. You're going to analyze those assumptions, collect the relevant data regarding those assumptions, and now determine the forecast. So this is like the elementary stage of financial modeling. If you understand what forecasting is all about, then modeling in its own self is just basically using a tool or spreadsheet in doing a forecast. So forecast is the overall concept of basically trying to estimate what the future performance is. But financial modeling is basically using that spreadsheet or a tool, and that tool that is what we are all familiar with, which is Excel, in helping us to identify or in helping us to do the forecast. And in the beginning of the commencement of this program, I had mentioned that financial modeling helps us to represent any business processes and brings it down to financial outcomes. So if it's supposed to answer what if questions, if a particular production volume increases by this particular quantity, what is going to be the impact on revenue? If costs should increase, what is going to be the impact on profitability and things like that? So what financial model does is help us to look at those scenarios and sensitivity analysis in the forecasting that we're doing. So moving very quickly, like I mentioned, so at what point do we use financial modeling? We use a financial model to analyze our current performance, basically how are we operating as of today. And as one of the functions of a CFO that we have established is stewardship. How are we able to analyze, the performance of our business? As a catalyst, how are we able to identify issues in our business? Identify where the areas of growth and the areas of improvement is. This is where the financial model comes to play. Forecasting financials, I think I've already mentioned it very significantly. A model will help you to project your future performance in terms of your income statements, your balance sheet, and cash flows. So other areas when you want to do some budgeting and variance analysis, a financial model is very important. Your risk analysis as well. Where are the areas where you think, the new business venture you want to go into? The financial model will be able to identify the places you should be careful of and what are the mitigation strategies that you can use in reducing or avoiding or accepting the risk. If you go to the Tara framework that we learned, during our ICANN days, then investment analysis, then buy or lease decision making. In building a financial model, there are definitely several components in building a financial model. However, I would like to break it down into three. The major ones are the inputs, then we'll now go into what we call the calculation sheets, and then you now have the outputs. But what I've presented here is just an basic, everything that we have in a financial model, from the input sheet to the income statement to the balance sheet, cash flow valuation. Basically, these are all different areas, in a financial model. And the beauty of a model is that as you're changing assumptions in the input sheets, all the different outcomes is going to be calculating automatically, and that will help you to know the implication or the impact of changes in an assumption in your income statement, changes in any assumptions to the balance sheet, and changes to any assumptions to the cash flow profile of your company. Then we look at how the financial model is structured. Basically, we want a financial model that is very dynamic. Dynamic basically just means that the model should be able to capture all the assumptions, and as well, be able to is dynamic to any changes that you may have in a model. So by and large, these are, like I mentioned earlier, the different it's just a concept paper on financial modeling. We to actually build a model, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So these are different steps in building a model, getting the right assumptions, getting the right information, in terms of supporting schedules, and speaking with the key business owners in the business. As a CFO, you need to have good information from your procurement team, good information from your HR, good information from every facet in the business. All of that information comes into play in building a model. So by and large, this is just an overview of how to build a model. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, that was an interesting one. Thank you. And I've particularly learned
So there's a questions on the screen, which I will take. A question from Fagbola Temitopadeni, which says, how effective and efficient translation of abstract representations in financial modeling to real-world financial situation? I think, to answer your question, it's to represent what is happening. I think it's very important to understand the business itself and be able to, represent the business process in financial information. And what do I mean? As a CFO, take for example, you want to delve into a particular business venture, and this business venture is being, strategized by your chief marketing officer. You need to have good information from your chief marketing officer in terms of what is the objective of this new business venture that you want to do, and what is going to be the implication, what is the new product that you're going to do, and what are the projected quantities, and what are the projected pricing, of that particular product that you want to do. Bringing all of that information into a financial model, what the financial model will help you to do is to estimate what your future revenue is going to be, as well as what is going to be your future project costs, and based on that, we can now estimate what is going to be, if the project is going to be a viable project or not. So a financial model definitely can help us to translate, business processes into financial information, and can be useful for decision making. So thank you very much, Fabiola, for the question.
Thank you for answering that question. Thank you so much, Mayowa. So I have just one question for you before I release you today. And my question is, whenever financial modeling is being discussed, what comes to mind is a kind of mathematical model, like you have told us about the analysis that you need to do. Those mathematical model are designed to show the quantitative performance and the financial assets, business portfolio, the project. Why the silence or quietness on sustainability modeling? Is there a kind of max conspiracy that we need to know?
There's no conspiracy anywhere. So I would say that the world is evolving. Nowadays, now we see a lot of trends in sustainability, and even in my current field as a corporate finance professional, assisting clients in raising capital, there's a lot of emergence and trend in sustainability. And I'm even going to say now there's something called sustainability finance, sustainability, sustainability capital raise. There are a lot of PE firms and venture capital institutions that are only interested in investing in companies that are having impact, sustainability impact. So for you to be able to attract those sorts of money or funds, you need to be able to display sustainability in your financial model. So take, for example, I am building a particular power plant in maybe an hydropower plant. The only way I can attract a DFI who is actually very interested in sustainability is to ensure that my power plant has some good sustainability footprints. And as an hydro generating company, if you look at it, I am just using is sustainable, right? I'm using the current water and my environment with less negative impact. Such a project will be quite attractive compared to a power project that is based on coal or gas flaring, because that has a negative impact on the environment. So sustainability is very key, even in terms of financial modeling, and we see it play a lot nowadays when it comes to fundraising as well. So I would say it's not there's no silence, it's just emerging, and as time goes on, we begin to see a lot of traction in that space as well.
Thank you so much for unbundling that in 1 minute. Thank you. So I just want your final note on this program and your advice to CFOs. I wanted to say your fellow CFOs. Yes, we are all CFOs. So yes, your fellow CFOs on the idea to positively advance their growth on accountancy profession and even our global audience and how they can make that space of global business environment thrive. So what would be your advice to every one of us on your final notes? Thank you.
All right. On a final note, thanks. I will say thank you for having me. But as professionals and as CFOs, as we are today on the call, one thing I know that is very that I think the institute for is we have this NPC day that we do from time to time, and there are lots of subject matter experts talking on accounting, taxes, corporate finance, and also see some elements of financial modeling as well. So I think the onus is on us as CFOs to continue to improve on ourselves in the space of accounting and finance. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not important, it's not necessary for us to do a lot of deep dive into portfolio management or financial savviness. Just a bit of it is necessary for us to be well equipped as CFOs in our day-to-day activities. So there are a lot of institutions out there, that I think the institute is also partnering with. Like we have the Financial Modeling Institute. They provide some certifications on advanced financial Excel. So our Excel skill also needs to be very, very worked on as well. So on that note, I would say that, as CFOs, as we improve on as our accounting knowledge, we also have to improve on our Excel skills and as well as a bit of finance as well, and to be a well-rounded CFO.
Thank you very much. Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much, Mayowa Salami, a associate director with Andersen, Nigeria. We truly appreciate your time. Thanks for filling the gap on some lapses that we have encountered during this period. Thank you very much for the presentation. That shows that it was well thought out by you, and you were well prepared for this program. We appreciate you, and we say do have a restful evening. And thanks for joining the program again.
Thank you so much, Shami. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Thank you. So, my dear colleagues, thank you for joining the program today. It's still Icon on Air, and we're very, very happy that we brought this topic to your doorstep because this resonates with a lot of people, and this is how a lot of people try to thrive in different parts of accounting, but they struggle. But this came to your doorstep so easily, seamlessly, and we hope that you had a nice time with us today.